LeBron, you've been in so many of these games, and it happens every night in the league. A team gets up big, especially with the threes increase, and the other team kind of cuts into it. How do you mentally try to keep a team focused so there isn't slippage in a situation like that?
Just keep executing, get timely stops, keep executing, and that's what we did down the stretch.
A couple of those plays, Rui ends up with the ball in the corner. That was from you. There was a swing. I think you get to Austin before D'Lo's three. Is that just simple execution? You're waiting for the double to come. Can you take us through those scenarios?
We have the ability to have 5 threats on the floor at one time, and if the defense shifts, then we make the extra pass, and that was a byproduct of that. I was able to hit Rui the first one on the three, then D'Lo was able to hit him, and then I was able to drive, kick the AR on the baseline pass, swing to D'Lo. That's all execution.
You said that every season kind of its own story. You turned the page from the year before. So that said, how important was it the last 2 days? How this team responds to put itself in its best position to win after those 2 losses?
Yeah, we got an opportunity to get on the floor, get some practice in, really dive in on the film, see the things that we were not doing well in those 2 games, the regression that we had, and today we took 2 steps forward, so that's a good sign for our ball club.
You spent some time with Kamala Harris and with Team USA over the summer. What about that time made an impression on you, and why did you choose yesterday as the time to make an endorsement?
Well, I was going to do it the day of the game in Cleveland, but I didn't want to overshadow, the whole hoopla of me and Bronny going back home. That's when I planned on doing it. So I figured yesterday would be a good day. Everything was kind of silent, and I wanted to make sure that it's seen and heard with a force. Having a daughter, having a wife, having a mother, and things of that nature, what she believes in when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to the future, with my kids and where I see our country should be. I feel like that endorsement is only right, and it is. Come on, you guys know me. I damn sure won't go no other way.
What did your experience in 2020 with More Than a Vote teach you about politics, show you about politics, show you about the impacts you can have in a very specific way?
It all started with, the shut up and dribble, thing, obviously. And to be able to be in a position where you can have some influence, and you have a lot of people who who just wanted to be in a position to have influence as well, to be able to speak outside of their rim, if it was sports or if it was music or movies or whatever it is, whatever the industry is, to be able to have a platform where I was able to gather a lot of men and women to be able to speak out from that moment, and then the More Than a Vote campaign, obviously, an initiative was great, and I'm even grateful now that it's still going. I got some beautiful ladies that's holding that down right now. Mecca Gumaka is a really good dear friend, and she's picked a great lineup of great people to be able to continue that, because we know how important it is. So it was very humbled to be able to have that, like you said, that year, and have it to be able to continue to go now.
Coach Redick said pregame that the Lakers were going to stay in Toronto an extra day to see Vince Carter's jersey retirement ceremony. What do you think of Carter being honored by the Raptors, the first player in team history to have his jersey retired?
Congratulations to Vince Sanity, rightfully so. It makes all the sense in the world, what he's done for this franchise, the impact he had in his community, the way he changed how basketball is looked at in Canada itself, and obviously in Toronto, well deserved.
What did your memories of Vince in a Raptors uniform?
Some of my memories.
Anything stand out?
He has so many. Obviously the 50-point game versus Sixers in the postseason, the rookie windmill, two-hand windmill backwards dunk versus Indiana on Chris Mullins, went around Chris Mullins, and Rick Smith strapped the box. The lob in preseason down at the University of North Carolina when he got that windmill. There's There's a ton. There's too many to name, obviously. And obviously the dunk contest. When he shut down the dunk contest and, gave you the it's over signal. So he has a lot.
Last question.
LeBron, are you aware, the Raptors had a number of rookies on the floor against you at various times, and are you kind of aware of maybe the impact you have when some of these guys are playing you the first time, that they're growing up watching you? Does it work to your advantage a little bit?
Not in the moment, because the only thing I'm worried about is how I can make the right decision, the right play, in that possession. So, no, in the moment I'm not. I've always just played the game of how the game, what's in front of me, and not try to get caught up in, if I was an inspiration to somebody. Unless it's like talked about before the game. I remember what's the kid in Memphis? JJ Jackson, yeah. So when JJ did that interview last year before we played them, there were moments on the court, and a speedy recovery to him too. I hate that he's not playing right now. Big fan of his, but there was a couple times on the court that I was like, okay, yeah.
Some of these kids play with Bronny.
No, of course, Jacoby Wall. Yeah, he's the same class as Bronny. So I knew that for sure. I watched him at Baylor, obviously, and so, and I watch all levels of basketball, so I know a lot of these kids as well.
Thanks, LeBron.
D'Angelo, JJ was telling us that part of making the rotation tweak a little bit to have you more with AD, they wanted to get you a couple more opportunities on the ball and just opportunities to make plays after those weren't maybe there as much the first few. And he also said you guys have had a dialogue going back to the summer, and you basically just said, I want to win, and you'll do whatever that it takes to do that. Yep. How did you see that, though, playing out tonight and kind of your comfortability within that context?
I was the timing of it was more something that I was just not used to. Playing a little longer. Every team I've been on, I've always been the first guy out and go back in type of thing. So it was just different. It is what it is. I'm all about coach, trial and error with whatever he's doing. I'm fully bought into what's going on here. And AD played well, bro. All those guys are happy, so that's all that matters.
What did you feel like the first half adjustments you guys made from the previous two losses that were important kind of got you going and got you off to that good start?
I think we're a really good team no matter who we play. When we worry about, what we're going to do offensively, obviously defensively I think we can match up, but like offensively when we commit to the system and how we're moving and operating, it's only a few games. We only had a few reps. So I think we'll only get better, but we got to trust it.
D'Lo, you're 6 games into the season, really, of playing with this. Are you finding the areas specifically within this system where you can be at your best? Are you still discovering that?
Yeah. I was committed to doing it the right way before the summer even ended. I was just like, I'm gonna do it the right way, no matter what the outcome is of my individual whatever. So for me to slowly but surely find it every game, feel like I'm finding it a little more, and we're winning as well. That's all I really care about.
There's going to be external forces that will cause you not to be at your best all year long. Travel stuff, injuries, guys feeling under the weather. What did this team show to itself and the coaching staff showed to you guys to the first bit of slippage with the 2-game losing streak to address it at practice, kind of have an example of accountability?
Yeah, I think just slippage is okay. It's just how we slippage. And it was just kind of looking like, our old ways. And I think Coach did a hell of a job of nipping that in the bud right away, coming out here. Obviously, we had a great start. In between was a little suspect. And then our finish, I think we just kind of executed, committed to the system. No matter who got the ball or whatnot, we just kind of played for each other. And I thought, the ball ended up in the right hands. And, the rest was history from there.
We saw you talking pregame with Max. He's a player that's getting more responsibilities, getting more minutes. What have you tried to tell him or show him as his responsibilities increase and the expectations also increase as well?
Yeah, I just find ways to make the game easier for our younger guys. Try to simplify it. Help them think less. Help them be in the position where they can be the best them. And for me, I know Max is a confidence guy, so trying to instill confidence in him and keep him there, no matter how the storm goes and adversity, just keep that confidence high. You'll be all right. So,
role players on the team, they're starting to pick things up. Can you define the role players for Lakers and what they bring?
I mean, they don't get the credit that they deserve, including myself. Not the credit, but as far as it gets overlooked. We got a lot of good guys that are, bought into the system as well, which isn't easy, but also bought into, you might play tonight, you might not, you might play, and that goes into the role player adversity, I would say. So for us to have a good group, I think is contagious. Everybody's bought into each other, everybody's selfless towards each other, and it just gives those guys, the energy and confidence to be ready when their number's called, and they could easily win games for us too. So.
Hi, yes, general question about the international game. It seems the NBA Cup, it might be a good setting for the league to try new things out. Taking into account that the international game has evolved and how both kinds of basketballs can benefit from each other, you as a player, would you like to see EuroLeague teams participating in the NBA Cup at some point?
Oh, that'd be cool. I think any way you can expand the game is a plus. I think any way you can steal an idea from any other professional leagues that is working. Obviously, the in-season tournament came from soccer, right? I think that was something that they were doing first. So for us to implement that right away, and it's been successful, any way we can evolve and expand, I'm for it.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Okay, Austin, I know that played in the second half, and you typically just say, I'm good, but it looked like you turned the ankle a little bit there. How do you feel after playing 9 in the second half?
I feel great. Would have felt a little better if I didn't go 0 for 9 in the second half, but we won, so that's all that matters. First, a couple minutes after rolling it, some pain, but got to, come back here, do a little treatment, move around, and felt good.
Assume that you plan on playing the next game, but you need to wake up and see how it feels first?
I plan on playing. I'm going to pull LeBron. I plan on playing all 82.
Well, you played, as Austin, you played 82 last year.
I did it last year. Trying to do it again. Yeah, whatever. Plus playoffs. So, yeah, I plan on playing.
Right, Austin, AD talked about this, and JJ did as well, but sometimes in the NBA, you're up big, the other team comes back, and I know you probably find it not acceptable, but what do you have to do to not allow that to happen in the context of a game? What did you guys not do as well in the third quarter?
I just thought we'd come out a little lazy. They started making shots, and we didn't react great to it. I think we took a couple tough shots. We just got to, stick to what, was working for us. I think we kind of went away from it, but how we executed down the stretch. Like Coach said before the game, it's hard to win in this league. So take the win.
Before the game, I don't know if you heard D'Lo talking to Max about trying to create him a layup through a backdoor cut. It happened on their first possession on the court together. I'm just curious what you've seen from D'Lo. Leadership, kind of as a stakeholder, as a guy who's been here now for a good chunk of time.
Yeah, I think he has a really good feel for the game. He obviously, scores the ball at a high level, as you've seen his whole career. But right before that back cut happened, he was talking to Max and just kind of seeing how the defense was playing, what we were running, and got Max. I wouldn't say an easy bucket, but got him a good look to get a bucket and get to the free throw line. Just like I said, his feel for the game and being able to adjust in game to things that the defense is doing, especially when we need him to continue to do that.
Starting with the first half, after 2 losses, how do you think you responded to the things that you guys talked about post-Cleveland in terms of intentional execution and organization? What did you see in the first half on that front?
We played extremely well. The ball was moving. We were getting good looks, creating opportunities for one another. Our defense was phenomenal. Everything that we talked about, from our 2 losses, we went out and executed in the first half, and we played like that. Will be a tough team to beat. Second half we had slippage, but the first half was a great response for how we want to play.
How did you guys use the time in between Cleveland and here to clean up stuff up?
Film and practice. We had film and practice.
How much of that was kind of JJ going through the stuff, and how much is that the leaders of the team kind of taking the accountability, the ownership, and kind of recognizing what was missing?
Yeah, it was both. We just need to get back on the floor, get back to us, going over our stuff. I mean, we haven't had a chance to practice, travel schedule and stuff like that. So it was good to get back on the floor yesterday, watch some film, and get back to what we do best. Kind of reviewing things and focusing on us yesterday, and then focusing on Toronto earlier today in the morning and pregame. But I think it was JJ and guys individually just taking accountability on ways that we can be better.
JJ adjust the rotation a little bit, so Austin, LeBron start second and fourth, and you and D'Lo play more together in the first and third quarters. What you feel about that? Or what you think of those looks, especially playing some alongside D'Lo a little bit more?
It was good. It was really good. I mean, we were able to generate some shots. Obviously, like I said, we had slippage in the second half, but the first half, the change to the rotations looked good, from my perspective.
Coach Redick said pregame that you guys were going to stay in Toronto for an extra day to take in Vince Carter's jersey retirement. What did Carter mean to you coming up?
No. Man, obviously just his ability to, high flying, what I'm saying? To be completely honest, I didn't watch, much of Vince growing up. But just playing against him, my time in the league, obviously he's, one of the greats, to play, especially here in Toronto. And then was able to turn his career, being a shooter toward, in the later parts of his career. But, what he was able to do on the floor, especially, all his highlights, with his, jumping ability, definitely was an attraction for, especially guys, like me who are shot blockers, and see him coming down the lane. You kind of got to make it the business decision and get out the way or get dunked on, because he wasn't really missing. So just seeing that up close for the time he was able. Obviously, I caught the later end of his career, but the dunk contest and everything like that, you kind of wanted to watch that because of Vince was in it. So he means a lot to our game. It'd be it's definitely an honor, I know, for him to have the jersey go up.
You called these next three, starting with tonight, you called these games must-wins for you on this trip. Why did you feel that this early in the season? And what kind of trust do you have in this group to put something like that out there and to see this group respond?
Because we need to win games. I mean, we lost 2 in a row. We lost, beating ourselves. So, I think we're very capable of, putting pressure on ourselves to have games where it's a must-win. And I like the way we responded coming out of Cleveland, where we were just awful on both ends of the floor. And we responded, especially in the first half. And obviously, when you get a league, it's pretty common to have a little bit of slippage, which we need to clean up and learn when we, learn not to get ourselves in that situation where you give a team life, especially when they have no life, coming out of halftime. So, but I like our response in that first half. But, we got one, and we got 2 more left on this trip that we need to win.
Last 2.
Yeah, JJ, in the walk-off, AD was saying, he'll take the road win, but he wasn't thrilled with the second half, especially. He said just has to be sharper. Assume you shared that sentiment. What did you see from kind of the first half to the second half tonight?
Well, I'll say our team in that first half probably played our best half of basketball, and it wasn't mistake-free. I mean, I think you could make a legitimate case. We should have had 83. We had 2 outlet passes, one that was at Dalton's ankles, another one that went over LeBron's head. that's 4 points. And then, Dalton's charge, there were 2 guys wide open. We talked about that at halftime. It's like as good as we can play offensively. You watched the Charlotte game the other night. They got down big on the road, and they kept playing, and they turned that into a 138, 133 game. I think in the NBA, when you get a big lead, your focus can wane on the defensive end, and I thought that's what happened tonight. But you also have to give them a lot of credit. They play really hard. They just keep playing, and I think for our team, all of that movement and driving, like it was tough for us to guard the other day with Cleveland, and it was tough for us to guard tonight. We'll certainly try to get better and clean some things up. We also have to start the third quarter better. That was probably the biggest thing. I think, you can try to put your opponent away there in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the third quarter when you have a big lead like that. And we allowed them to have life.
For AD specifically, 38 more points. He's every night. It's been like that. You talked about this a lot going into the season, but did you anticipate, this level of efficient scoring and the totals being up?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. And it's funny tonight. We ran a few things for him, but it wasn't like we featured him. I think it's a testament to how we envision our offense. The ball is going to find the best players. We can certainly put guys in certain positions within our alignments and within our system to exploit their skills. But, the ball is going to find AD if we play the way we want to play. And then, we always look for opportunities to just feature him with a set call.
Pre-game, we heard a conversation with D'Lo and Max about D'Lo trying to create a backdoor layup for him right away when he first got in the game. Sure enough, that play happened. Max, the guy who's been struggling, gets an easy bucket, ends up having a pretty good night. I'm just curious, what has D'Lo been like behind the scenes? He's not the most vocal leader of all time, but things like that. Have you noticed stuff like that from him as he's tried to find his way in this offense?
I would say he's been one of the more vocal leaders on our team, and that goes back all the way to before training camp on the days that he was in the gym. Is one of the challenges that I gave him the first day he came in the gym, and he was using his voice and he was energetic, and we talked about it afterwards, and I said that's got to be your standard. That's got to be who you are every day, regardless of if shots are going in or not, or if you get subbed out at the end of a game. And look, he played really well tonight. He's going to have a lot of good games where he plays well. His spirit has not diminished at all with any sort of whatever you want to call it. Shooting struggles to start the season. He's been fantastic, and I think for all our guys, it's a great example. I wasn't aware of that, but it's something that we've talked about with a number of our older players. Is like, you gotta be a leader with these young guys and help pick them up. Give them some confidence, and it's great to hear D'Lo did that.
I think you guys were up I think it was maybe 8, 9. You guys went to horns action, led to back-to-back Rui threes. I think D'Lo even got 3 off that action. What did you like about, that action? What were you seeing from Toronto's defense that made you guys want to go to that look?
It's a tough action to guard, particularly with LeBron and AD in the horns, or LeBron as the ball handler and getting a rip screen from a smaller player, usually has a smaller defender. Something that, we feel like we can go to against certain matchups and usually get good offense out of it.
Sticking with that, Rui was not shooting the ball well all game, and LeBron goes to him, D'Lo goes to him on the next possession. Obviously, Rui being ready, shot ready to take the shot, but then guys looking for him, even if it's not a shooting night. What does it say about the group kind of working together?
Yeah, it's 6 games in. We've been together for, I think, exactly a month. One of the things we talked about pregame was trust. It's one of our core values as a team, and there's many ways you can sort of define that. And I think that's a moment of trust. Those guys, Rui has played his he's played great, but he's earned their trust, and it was a cool moment, and for Rui as well, just to have the confidence, no hesitation to take those shots despite an off shooting night for him. Just those were two great moments.
JJ, I know you talked about having a flexible rotation, and you're still kind of tinkering with things, trying to figure it out. You played Austin a little bit more with the LeBron AD bench unit tonight. What went into that decision, and what did you like or think about it?
Yeah, some of it I think was trying to get the ball in D'Lo's hands a little bit more as a creator with AD. And then the flip side of that with AR and LeBron, those guys have a really good chemistry and play really well together, and super smart players. And I felt like that group at times in the previous 5 games have been a little unorganized, and we felt like that could get us organized. First half, it was phenomenal. I mean, the way the 2 rotations went, and we'll obviously look and see what we could have done better in the second half.
We've spoken a lot about how what you're doing offensively can open up things for AD within system, but I'm curious what you saw early for LeBron within system, the opportunities that you guys created for him. How is he at finding those? What did you see, I guess, on that front?
Yeah, we were very intentional within sort of the interchangeable parts about putting him and a little bit of directing. Not that he and the rest of the guys can't figure it out, but sometimes, particularly after makes in the early offense, we're still sort of finding our way in terms of recognizing where guys are and how we can then initiate an action to get them in a good spot. We're working through that. We're going to be really good, hopefully by game 20, game 25, but we provided a little bit of direction early on to get guys in the right spots, and obviously LeBron was phenomenal as he usually is, both as a screener, off the ball, on the ball. It was sort of and I was as good as I think he can. Not that he can play, but it's sort of what we envision for him in our offense is just doing all of that every night.